Right. Raf, it's good to have you back on the podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Adam. Good to see you, man. I'm glad we're doing this. We got the Zoom going, so I got good to see with those eyes.
Yeah.
How
That's
you been
it.
doing? You been good?
Yeah. Been good, mate. Been good. Just been just busy podcasting. Do you know what I mean? Sorting work things out.
Yeah.
Um, this year's been interesting. A lot of things have happened.
It's been
Thinking,
nuts.
mm,
It's been crazy year.
like how's things been for you? I mean, we spoke back during the summer. I think was it? Or was it like just before summer? March.
Yeah, it was just after, I think it was April. I think it was in April we got together the first time. So, you
Yeah.
know, and so it's been a little bit. So it's been about 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And like, yeah, but I think we gel quite well. And we kind of like have good like topics, like, and I thought like like kind of in this podcast we talk about like say patience, process,
Hmm.
and how I think I've definitely learned about patience a lot in the process this year, especially with podcasting and how kind of things roll out.
Yeah, well, you've been super active, especially with all the especially with the whole COVID situation, right? But yeah, patience
Mm,
is a big deal. And if you're not practicing that pretty regularly right now, you could probably drive yourself a little bit mad.
yeah. Yeah. You have to kind of reflect, don't you? Kind of have to like ground yourself and look at kind of where you're at, don't you? And what.
Yeah, I think if you really want to be patient, right, and it's important to
Mm,
you, which look, I think being patient is a big quality for people to have, especially people who are you know in roles in their careers, for example, that are leadership. Okay, I think it's important that they have patience. There is a, you've heard me say it before in the past, don't take my kindness for weakness, right?
mm,
So, but you still have to have patience with all that, because everyone goes, moves, grows, learns,
mm,
reacts, executes at a different pace, right?
mm.
So you have to have patience because it's super important, from a leadership perspective, but it's also super important for you as a growth from a growth perspective.
Mm.
You've got to, everything takes time to process. I mean, you and I think see eye to eye on that pretty clearly, and you have to
Yeah.
learn love the process, right? So if you're gonna love the process, you have to be patient.
Mm. Yeah. No, definitely. And they kind of go hand in hand, don't they? Together, they kind of like interconnect. I think, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything else. It's like, excuse me, if you're playing
So.
a sport, for example, right? If you're a center forward on the football pitch, you can't do it by yourself. And so if the ball's in the first third, you can't just go run. You're gonna get outside. So there's all these rules, and sports can kind of help us through life a little bit, I think, sometimes. But
Mm,
you've got to be patient and wait for the ball to come to you, right?
mm,
Doesn't mean you can't call for it. Doesn't mean you can't push people to give it to you. Doesn't mean you can't, be aggressive and move around and find the best angle to receive. Okay. Doesn't mean you can't do that, but you still have to be patient and wait for the ball. So I think that's just really kind of the process. And the process is, you've got to position yourself. You've got to move around. You've got to get in the right place. You have to put the work in to give you the best opportunity at winning. And then you've got to be a little bit patient and wait for it to come to you. So,
mm.
people say, go out and get it, and, don't sit back, don't sit on your laurels, don't wait. When you think about it, it's really about making sure you do everything you can do to accept and receive the opportunity when it comes, and then fully exploit that opportunity.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's really good advice. I think like how sport can definitely give you that perspective, can't it? It can definitely push you in that place because, like you said, there are all these different dynamics and angles within like that sport. And I see as well, like on your social media, you play golf as well, and
Yep.
I mean that's like another. I mean all of these things like patience, process, and consistency kind of all fall into place, especially in golf. I mean I've only ever been on the driving range. I've
Hmm.
never actually played like a proper round of golf, but
Hmm.
I kind of used to struggle with patience because I just used to put a lot of effort into hitting the ball, and a lot of the time it doesn't. You have to be relaxed, and it takes a lot of practice. Like, if you kind of learned that in golf, like those kind of things.
Yeah, I think, when playing golf is a game of patience, right? It is a game of process. There's no doubt. And it's one of those games where you can't play to win it. You just have to play it to play it, see what happens, right? And if you go through and execute and you follow the process, and every little piece of the game is a process, every swing, every putt, every chip. So you have to be patient out there. And then it takes a long time. So you have to be able to focus over a 4 or 5 hour period of time. And the ones who can do it really well learn how to really focus during the moment, and then also learn how to relax and unfocus during the period where you're getting from ball to shot to ball in those big gaps. So the ones that can jump back and forth quickly usually do a much better job. And so that's a great little exercise to learn how to do that pretty well, because that's life again. You're not going to stay focused and grinding mentally 100% every single day, every minute of your day. You have to relax.
Yeah. Yeah, because I used to work at a golf club, and I remember like it'd be pretty intense. I used to think to myself like, oh, it's meant to be pretty relaxing, a nice place. But when they would come in for their like dinner or these tournaments, there was like sometimes no talking between the teams, and I was like holy shit, this is pretty territorial ground. Like,
on it, man.
Yeah.
You start putting down some dollars, man, people get upset.
Yeah. Yeah, so I suppose it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like you said, there's it's important to kind of have those kind of like delayed gratification, isn't it? And to be patient, because I think a lot of the times we expect to get things straight away.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an I don't know if we all expect that all the time. I think a lot of people realize that it's not going to be quick. I think most people realize that. I would like to think so.
Yeah.
Right. I think that the big difference today, what I find, is that a lot of people want to find the easier way of getting it done. And so to some people that perceives, you get the perception of being lazy.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to put as much effort in or as much work in to get something accomplished that maybe was being done in the past that way. And so constantly looking for an easier way. And that's good to be innovative, I think. And so I think most people realize that you have to put the work in. I don't think that the majority of people just want that instant gratification. I know we talk about it a lot, especially when you're coaching and you're working with people and you're mentoring, right? It seems to be a topic of conversation quite a bit. And I'm sure it is for you. I know it is for me. It's pretty common thread. And it just feels like it's not so much about wanting instant gratification. It's more about wanting an easier way. And that's kind of where I get hung up with people, is that why would you, one, easiest way may not be the best way. Two, part of the struggle is just that it's it's not supposed to be easy.
Yeah.
And, right. And then the reward that you get typically is much greater when the struggle is more difficult. So if you're getting through a difficult struggle and you're coming out on the back end of that really good, you usually feel better about it, and usually stays longer, right? It's like that whole, if you buy a car for your kid at their 15th or 16th birthday, like here in the States, you have to be 16 to drive yourself. So, sweet 16, and you get them a car. They usually don't take care of it as if they paid for it themselves. And that's like anything else. So again, I don't know if it's so much about people wanting instant gratification. It's like they want easier gratification. And yeah, look, don't get me wrong. There's a whole community out there that wants it now, and they'll take it. And I got to have it now. I get it. But I don't think that's the case for most people. I think most people understand there's a lot of hard work involved, and it takes time. I just don't think understand that focusing on the process, right? Focusing on the process and learning to love the process is where it's at.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think it's kind of been my lessons. I think as a person, because I kind of expected, to hit the ground running and to have things straight away. They were my kind of lessons, but I had to go into jobs and work and kind of learn that and understand that there was that process to it, and you can look at if you come through those difficult moments or the stressful times, you kind of appreciate it in a different way, don't you? You see the growth and you see those lessons in between.
Absolutely, 100%. I think and I think that's really what the journey's about. The journey's about the
Mm.
process and learning and growing
Yeah.
and finding out new incredible things about yourself.
Mm. That's it. And I think you learn a lot from other people, don't you? I mean, especially because I know like you've been doing like other podcast projects as well, and I think when you meet other people, uh, you learn a great deal of things, and it kind of changes your perspective, like, doesn't it? Have you found that?
I've found if you're open-minded, it will. If
Mm.
you're willing to be open-minded and you're willing to listen to other people and you're willing to see their perspective
Mm.
and see where they're coming from, then absolutely, they're all learning opportunities. So I think, yeah, and that's why I do as much as I do. I am involved in another podcast project that's been going on.
Mm.
I don't want to do a shameless plug here, so we'll let people go look
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it's just really about being open-minded. And if you're open-minded and you're
Yeah.
willing, then yeah, you're going to learn stuff from other people, and
Mm.
it'd be possible not to in that mental state. If your mental state is, I'm going to be open-minded, I'm going to listen, I'm going to learn,
Mm.
and I'm going to hear what you have to say, then it's really virtually impossible for you not to learn something, whether you learn something about them or you learn something about yourself, but you're going to learn something.
Mm.
So
Mm. No, that's a really good points. And as well, like, like this year, have you um like read any books or anything, or you into reading?
So, I've said it before that reading's not my strong suit. So I do the audible stuff. But, I've read, well, I say read, I've listened to,
Yeah.
okay. There's a book, You're a Badass, which is an interesting listen and read. And it's, I don't remember her name, the author.
Oh, it's You're a Badass, something Cesario, something
Yeah,
Cesario.
it's Jen Sincero.
Cesario,
So that was
yeah.
great perspective. And I chose to read that book or listen to that book because I just wanted to hear like this positive mindset from a female's perspective.
Mm.
Right. And I think that's part of me wanting to grow and get better. And so it was good. It was really good. And it wasn't good because it was a female or a male. It was just a damn good book.
Mm.
So, that's a good recommendation for people. I think if you want to go and get a little motivation and hear some positive mindset, that's one. I did listen to, we're going to drop the F-bomb on your show here.
Yeah, it's okay.
The whole Unfuck Yourself, that book.
Yeah.
That was a good one. And that guy's great. And he did his own audio, right? On the Audible.
Mm.
He narrated. That was good. And then I'm in the middle of this Goggins stuff right now.
Oh, he's a boss, he is.
That guy's a beast, man. I mean, that guy's just sick. And it's not even so much that he's physically, imposing on people or anybody else. This guy just won't quit, period. Doesn't care, just won't quit. And that mindset can be empowering to a lot of people because his whole thing is that why not you and why not me, which is great. So those are probably the three that stick out for the year. Look, I'm constantly putting myself in situations. I'm constantly reading articles, constantly doing homework and research and listening to other people that I find to be of similar mindset from a different, perspective or different angle. So constantly growing, man. And it's been tough, man. 2020 has been tough for a lot of people, with this whole COVID thing. And all this craziness. So pretty nuts.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy, but I think, like you said as well, like you've got to look at the things. You've got to draw. You have a choice, I think, don't you, to draw from the things that are going to benefit you or not. And I think, like you said, reading or listening to audiobooks is like a great way to learn, isn't it? And to consume something that's positive, that's going to benefit you, rather than probably watching the news for like an hour, or half an hour. You can listen to an audiobook and get something from it. And
Absolutely.
yeah, they sound like really good books. You definitely have to check them out. And I read it's very short. I don't know if you heard of it, called The Art of War.
Yep.
It was some teaser who's like, I think it's like a samurai,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like from the 6th century.
Yeah.
You can look at it and apply it to obviously like business, if you're in business, and like there's certain things in there to do with like people and
Mm-hmm.
trust. It just blows my mind that things like that, like books can be
Mm-hmm.
written centuries ago, but still applied, to life today.
Yeah. And I think I've told you this before, but I have a martial arts background, so that's kind of like
On the back.
basic 101 reading for anyone who's going to study martial arts for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? How something that somebody wrote, hundreds and hundreds of years ago is completely applicable to today's society, in the sense of the lessons in that book, the learning in that book, the perspective in that book, all apply. And look, everybody has to take every little piece that they find in life, right, and apply it to themselves, how it best suits them, to give them the opportunity to have the most success they can. Just like being a center forward on the pitch, you have to move around and find the best angle. You have to get into the right place so that someone can give you the proper pass, so that you have the highest probability of getting the ball in the back of the net. So you've got to do that. So you've got to take all those things in life and just kind of apply them and work with them. And that's where I think people like you, where you're coaching and, mentoring, and that's why it's so important for me when I'm doing it, when I'm working with people, is that sometimes they just don't know how to get in the right place. It's not that people like you and I are so much smarter than them, right? It's really about, we know we have the proper mindset. We know we have the right ideas. And now it's just about helping them get it all in the right place and just kind of move it around a little bit, little pieces here and there. And then, hey, do this, do that. So I think that's why that people that do venture into coaching or mentoring or trying to inspire people or motivate people, I think it's a big deal, man. I think it's important.
No, definitely. I was talking to someone today, and he said it's definitely being highlighted a lot more now, I think, because of COVID. And people are realizing, mental health, businesses, and the employees' well-being, and this whole thing of well-being and mental health, and they're noticing that if people aren't good and good mentally, or their well-being isn't good, they're not going to work as well in a job.
Yeah, I think that's any time, right? That's anywhere, anytime. I think that the fact that everything's kind of been turned upside down, people are forced to look. People have literally been forced to live with themselves. They have been forced to have to face themselves for longer extended periods of time than they ever have in our lifetime. So they're going to either go to an office for a short period of time and be in a contained, isolated situation, or they're working from home, which, working from home can be suspect, but anyway, they're working from home. And so they're being forced to have to deal with themselves. And for a lot of people, that's scary, man. For a lot of people, that's like, ooh, I don't know if I really like myself that much. Think about that. I don't really know if I like myself that much to be able to spend that much time with myself, by myself, for 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, 9 months. We're going on a year, right? I don't know if I like myself enough to do that. And so for a lot of people that struggle with mental health, and a lot of people that don't struggle with mental health, there's been a big reality check this year for a lot of people. And do you have your head in the right place? Are you ready for this? So that's always been kind of, that's what's kind of not worried so much this year. Not so much for myself, although there have been times where I've been kind of like, oh, not feeling it.
Yeah.
But, people I work with, it's a big concern for me. So it's trying to come up with creative ways to keep them active and get outside and find ways of being some kind of social. And look, we're not as strict here as some other states in the US. And, regardless of the horror stories that you hear, I don't think it's as bad in the state as you might perceive it to be. So we're still pretty flexible. You can still kind of go out and have dinner and be a little bit social. So I think it's not as bad as some other places have been. But it's scary, man. It's really, really scary.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think it's definitely been a challenging time, and it's definitely, like you said, you're forced to inwardly kind of look like within yourself, because I think when you're by yourself, things can surface that you kind of probably didn't expect because your attention's on yourself, isn't it? And especially if people have got existing kind of mental health things going on or other things going on.
Well, who are you going to fake it with? Who are you going to fake it with? You can't. There's nobody there.
Yeah.
So now you really, you can look in the mirror. Here's the thing, right? People talk about, oh, you're lying to yourself. You're not understanding the true yourself, right? And here's the thing. If you're in a crowd of people, you're with a group of people, and you've never met those people before, I tell you that I'm the CEO of $1 billion organization. Are you going to tell me I'm lying? No, you're going to accept it. I know I'm not, but you're going to accept it, right? So now the lie became my reality for even that short period of time, however time that circle is. But when you're by yourself, there's nobody to validate the lie. There's no one to accept the comments that are coming out of your mouth or the actions that you're portraying in order to validate what you're trying to mask and cover. So since that's not there, because you can look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm a CEO, because you're trying to mask something and you're not. So there's no one there to validate it. So yeah, when you're by yourself, which is why you tell people sometimes you need to go find yourself. You need to go spend 15, 20 minutes a day only by yourself and listen to yourself. Or, look, when I was younger, the advice I got from my father was take 5 years and do nothing but work. Work 7 days a week, work 15 to 20 hours a day, make as much money as you can, or as little as money as you can, but just work. And after 5 years, you're going to know exactly the kind of business person you want to be and the kind of company you want to work for. And you're going to know exactly how much money you should make. And he's right. But it took 5 years of me basically being in solitude and grinding all day, every day to figure that out. And look, it probably didn't actually take 5 years, but I made a 5-year commitment. So there you go.
Yeah. No, I think that's like really key, isn't it? Like you said, I think, we should all work at something. And, I think you, like I said, you get out of life what you put into it, don't you? If you want to work hard, you'll get the results. And I think,
but you know what that all takes, Adam? Patience, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's something
that takes patience.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something that I'm definitely learning. I think that's something that one of my big learning points this year. Because sometimes I can feel like a race car and I'm in the pits. Do you know what I mean? That's how I can feel sometimes. And it's learning ways of dealing with that, isn't it?
Yeah, and as you grow, right? I mean, we've talked about this, but I think I'm 20 something years your senior, right?
Yeah.
And look, you got to learn how to, and you're much more patient than most people your age. You're much more connected. You're much more intuitive. You have a lot of self-awareness. You see things from a different perspective. You see, we might be called an old soul.
Yeah.
So you have that advantage. And then patience is just one of those things where you just have to learn you got to learn how to truly, truly accept the process. Because once you do that, the patience comes easy. It really does.
Mm.
You know, so you're getting there, man. You're doing pretty.
Yeah.
Listen, bro. You're doing pretty damn good. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody. I don't care what anybody says about you. You're doing damn well. Okay.
Oh, no, thank you, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Really means a lot. And yeah, no, it's I think you're doing great as well. And yeah, I appreciate you giving me those compliments, because I think like I said, sometimes you have to kind of take a third person view of yourself, don't you? Sometimes to really kind of sometimes see it for what it is.
Yeah, for sure. If you don't have good people around you, right? If your circle is if your circle's suspect, okay, then you may not be able to have those, you won't have those sounding boards that you need. And so, but that comes from a reflection, from an internal reflection, because you're going to kind of put the people around you that fit you emotionally at that time. That's why people's circles change, and people's groups change, and their tribes change, and their lifestyles change. And it's all good stuff. Change is good, right? It's uncomfortable, but it's good. And so it's important that you're really focused on your circles, but you can see a lot from your circle. You can really understand who you are at that time based on your circle. Which is pretty nuts. And people don't see it that way. They see their circle as, oh, this is my comfort, right? Yeah. And so when all of that goes away, like with COVID, right? So your circle goes away because it's been forced away. Start to really figure out some few things about yourself. And again, it's really just where, do you like yourself? Are you happy? That's the biggest question. The biggest question ever is, are you happy?
Yeah.
I read something the other day, and it was, and I don't remember exactly how it says, but it says, people will come up to you and ask you, how's work? How's your house? How's your family? Right? Did you get a new car? All these things. And nobody ever asks you, hey, how are you? Are you happy? And I was like, I'm reading that, and I was like, damn, I do that too. That is like, I get it. That's me too. And I started thinking to myself, I said, you know what? So went to play golf on Saturday, and I made a point. And listen, it was hilarious. For me, it was like mental magic, okay? Because I said, I didn't ask anybody about anything other than, all I said was, hey, good morning to everyone. And then, did you have a happy week? Are you happy today? And everybody looked at me like I was an alien. No one knew how to answer. No one. One guy says, Raf, right now, I'm happy. All week, no. And the guy's in a super stressful career, and he's a little bit of a loose cannon, but no one knew how to react, man. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was wild. So, I get home afternoon from golf, and I see my wife, and I'm like, let me try. I'm going to test her. Let me see what happens here. And it was an awesome response, man. I said, hey, babe. She goes, hey. I said, you happy? And she says to me, now that you're home, I'm happy. And I was like, okay, all right. She's like, I'm content when you're not around. I'm happy when you're home. Perfect. Got it. Right.
Yeah.
So, but it just goes to mindset, right? Goes to where your head's at. But it was wild, man. It was really just, like I said, it was like mental magic, because you have to really, you get to see all these different reactions. And I mean, everybody just looked at you like deer in headlights. They were like,
yeah.
What is wrong with Raph this morning? He's asking like stupid questions, crazy questions. Yeah. What's wrong with him?
It's so true though, isn't it? I think it's powerful, isn't it? It's a powerful perspective. And I think like as well, it is one of those things, isn't it, where it's not often asked. It's like I said, oh, did you have a good time at work, at school, all these things in society. And I think, like you said, if someone was to say to you, are you happy? It kind of is like somebody shaking your foundations a little bit, because it's like, oh, that's come out of nowhere. It's like
it's almost like asking someone, how much money do you make, right? It's such a personal question. I mean, if somebody said to me, how much money do you make? I'd probably answer them, well, I do okay, right?
Mm.
But I would like to think and believe that if somebody asked me if I was happy, my answer would be yes. I'm very happy because I am happy. I'm very happy
Mm.
with where I am. I'm happy with my growth process. I'm happy
Mm.
with the constant change and evolution of myself.
Yeah.
Um, I know people around me in my circles are probably confused every once in a while because I'm constantly moving, right? Constantly go,
Mm.
go, go,
Mm.
go, go.
Mm.
But I'm happy. So
Mm.
I would like to believe that if somebody asked me that question, that that would be my answer. But nobody ever
Mm.
asked. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think as well, a lot of people they don't really know. Like people sometimes, I mean, everyone's different and everyone's got different things that make them happy. But I think some people don't actually know what is making them happy. I think the whole pandemic thing, people buying things and
Mhm.
things like that that they thought brought them happiness, don't actually
Mm.
serve that long term happiness, that kind of thing. Because I remember I was buying random stuff out on Amazon during the first lockdown, and then I was actually like, I can't use this. Like, why am I buying this? I started thinking about it, and I was like, I felt happy once I got it. Then after a while, I was like, oh, okay, I don't need that. It's not me. You know, it doesn't serve that.
Yeah.
And I watched a documentary. I don't know if you've seen it, called Minimalism, and
No.
these
Is it good?
guys, yeah, I have to send it you. And these guys sell all their stuff, and they basically talk about happiness
Hmm.
and they kind of shone a light on it, and that people buy lots of different things thinking that that kind of makes them happy. And I mean, we all do it, and but I think it's kind of knowing, do you know what I mean, that core difference
Hmm.
of what is actually making you happy, and if you're caught in the loop buying things, if that
Right.
makes sense, for the
Yeah.
happiness. I think
Yeah.
it's not the most easiest kind of thing to break down, is it, happiness, when you think about it?
No, I don't think it is, man. I think that you have to really work to get there. I think once you're there, you know you're there. I
Mm.
think that once you get into that place where you really feel good about yourself and you're really happy with your growth and where you are in life, I think once you get there, I think you know you're there. I
Mm.
believe that because it's the challenges that when life changes, like in marriages, big deal, right? People say all the time, oh, I'm not in love with this person anymore. I'm not happy anymore. I don't know what happened. I don't know where it happened. And I think that's what people need to pay more attention to, is that the second you start to feel unhappy about something or uncomfortable about something, then you have to really stop, analyze it, understand where it's coming from, and then go fix it.
Mm.
So, um, I've been with my wife for 20, I better get this right, 20 plus years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it seems like it's gone by like that. It really
Mm.
does. And people ask me, oh, marriage is hard. And I'm like, say, no, it's not. Why? It shouldn't be
Mm.
hard. If being in a relationship and having a life partner is extremely difficult for you, then you need to get out of the damn relationship because it shouldn't be that way.
Mm. Mm.
So it's not been hard. Have we had challenges that we've had to overcome as a couple and as a unit? Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. Have we had times where things may not have been so good financially? Absolutely. And have we had to work through it? 100%. But our relationship, her relationship with me and my relationship with her, has been a freaking breeze for 20 plus years, man.
Mm.
That part has been easy. So,
Oh, that's no, I congratulate you on that, and I think that's like really important, isn't it, as well? And I suppose like a lot of it comes down to communication as well, because I've noticed, when I've had girlfriends, some girlfriends, not all of them, but some girlfriends, it's like communication. And I know men can be communicate differently with women sometimes, but I'm like, a lot of it comes down to that. And I think saying things in the moment, probably, not texting big matters, probably, because it can be misinterpreted and things like that.
mhm.
That probably works. That's probably, have you realized that, in your relationship, like communication being quite vital, how you communicate?
Yeah, communication is key for any relationship, period. Right. But when it comes to your personal relationship and, maybe your spouse or even parents or brothers and sisters, yeah, communication is a big, big deal. And if you're not communicating, not is far worse than communicating poorly. Because not communicating is signaling that you don't want to deal with the situation. It's signaling that you don't want to have that person help you through an issue or a problem or a challenge, and that you don't want that person's involvement. So then that really starts to question the relationship, right? But poor communication, I think poor communication you can work through all day long. I know I said A, B, C, but to say D, E, F.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean it to sound like X, Y, Z. I meant it to sound like element.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
You can always take a half a step back and say, look, I know I said this, but I meant to say this. It sounded like this, but I wanted it to sound like that. So you can always do that. And as long as you have a willing participant, you can get beyond those things. And look, we're human, man. So if you get riled up or something, you start popping off at the mouth. I mean, listen, the easiest thing to fix it all is, yes, dear, I'm sorry, honey. What would you like to do next?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's it. I mean, like they said, life happens, and we're always learning, aren't we? We're only human. I think as long as you take that responsibility, isn't it? I think that's probably the main thing as well, as you mentioned.
You got to own your shit, Adam. You got to own it, man. You have to own it. You can't make a mistake and not own it. You have to own it. So as long as you're owning it and you're willing to work with that person and move on and get through, it's fine. It's easy.
Yeah. No, I agree as well. Because I thought to round up as well. Like, do you? Don't know. Did I ask you last time about role models? Did I ask you about any role models that you have?
I don't remember, man. Been a while.
Do you have any like role models or mentors that you kind of like look up towards?
I mean, business wise, I've got a few people that I talk to, I bounce things off of, right? Personal, my parents have been pretty good. I've got a bunch of brothers, so that's always good. And quite honestly, I mean, I bounce a lot of stuff off my wife.
Yeah.
She probably knows me better than anyone else on the face of the planet. So me bouncing things off of her is always good. But with her, what I've learned to do is, hey, I need to bounce this off you. I need you to be a sounding board. So I just need you to hear what I have to say. And then I'd like your feedback after. Because then because we're in a personal relationship, right?
Yeah.
It's different than if I went to somebody outside of my home and said, hey, I've got some ideas I want to bounce off you. Or you just started talking and then you started going back and forth. They know that you're just kicking stuff around. When you're talking with your spouse or someone that's really close to you, a boyfriend or girlfriend, it can get real personal real quick. So you have to be really clear about what you're expecting and how you want that feedback. And once you do that, then you can just kind of say whatever you want and be diarrhea at the mouth, and they won't take it personal, right? Because they won't think it's about them. And then you can move from there. So, and so when it comes to role models, I mean, my wife's a role model. She's a firefighter, engineer, operator. She's pretty badass. So that's always fun to watch. My parents, personally, and I've got a few business mentors that I turn to from time to time. So I think they're important. I think they're absolutely important. And look, I think mentors and coaches are great. You just have to find the ones that you have to be willing to go out and put the work in and find the ones that will work with you, that you can connect with, because it is about clear communication.
Yeah. No, that's it. I think they're important to have, and I think like I said, it's okay to change them, like different business mentors, and isn't it, over time as well. And I think it's definitely important to have people who you can kind of take good advice from, isn't it? And to kind of be like. And I definitely think like people that I've met this year, are like a lot of my role models, and like yourself, and many people I've met through podcasting. I look up to like yourself and other people I've met, and it's very humbling, to be in that tribe, and to be have that close knit. I'm really grateful for it.
Yeah. Well, it's more humbling when somebody tells you they look up to you, man. So I appreciate that.
No, you're welcome.
But it's good. So what have been, I got a question for you. I know you've been banging me out for the last
yeah.
45 minutes with a question. I got one for you. So I'm curious to know, like, look, you've done really great with the show. You have a ridiculous amount of episodes already, which I think is awesome. And
cheers, man.
so how have you struggled to find content? Meaning, like, people to talk to, guests. I mean, I know there's 4 billion people in the world, but still it can be hard. So how are you managing that, man? I'm curious.
Yeah, I've definitely found it. I think for me, to get in that mindset, to sit down, to network, to do it, takes a lot of energy for me, because I kind of bounce around and I'll be doing 5 different things. So for me, it takes a lot of discipline. But for me, I have found it difficult. But a lot of it is kind of learning as I'm going along, and gauging with people that kind of resonate with, or kind of feel like are going to provide value. And a lot of the time, sometimes people will reach out to me, and it's the whole dealing with spending a select amount of time going through emails, responding to messages, and networking on LinkedIn, searching for people, responding to messages, and as well. So I do it on LinkedIn. I network with people, and then I'll go on Instagram and engage in comment threads, and go on people's profiles, reach out to them. And a lot of the time I'll get a no. A lot of the time I'll get no response, and it takes a lot of time and energy to then to put that in, and you might not get anything back.
Right.
So that's definitely been a challenge. But out of however many I ask, I'll get a yes, or so that's been a general challenge, and try and not say that personally, because that's something that used to make me feel like shit if I got a no. But I think over time it doesn't really hurt as much now.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, if that answers what you.
Yeah, I'm just curious how it goes. Just listen, man, don't forget me when you have this beautiful fancy studio and you've got all these people around you. Don't forget me. Don't be like,
of course not. No, you're definitely on my top five list, right?
I'll take it, man. I'll take it.
Yeah, because like I've met lots of different people from doing it, and like some of the a lot of people I've met, like yourself, I just feel like I kind of known you for years, if that makes sense. I just feel like on the same vibe, and I think it's really special to have that. And I look forward to what the future holds, and definitely love to meet one day, to do a podcast in person or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it'll happen, man. I know it will.
Yeah.
I know it will.
Yeah, of
You're
course.
gonna be so big time. You're gonna fly me to London, brother. It's gonna be all good. Don't worry.
That's it. One-way ticket. And I'll be like, I'm coming to Florida next week. The weather's nice. No.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah. Dude, thank you so much. I really enjoyed the conversation this morning. Well, my morning, your afternoon. So
yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it, man. Thank you so much for having me on again.
No, you're welcome, man. It's good to connect, and I hope you have a great day, and we'll speak soon.
All right, sounds great. Be good.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right.